Very good afternoon to all of you. It's a great privilege and pleasure today to have this interaction with the one and only famous Mr. Shiv Khera. Sir, we are really, really honored today to have you here with us and to be able to motivate the entire population of this country. The reason why I'm saying that is that in normal times, people do get into depressions. They get into periods of feeling that, my God, how can we go forward? But in COVID times, the times are even more compounded. So we are quite difficult. We are in great difficulty to understand how to face these COVID times. People have lost jobs. People have lost businesses. Businesses are still closed. Lots of things are negative. Families are affected for COVID. And of course, many of them are in the COVID detention containment areas, whether at home or in hospital. So I think all this adversity is really something which is unprecedented, at least in my entire lifetime. So we look forward to people like you, Mr. Khera, and look forward to see how we can really make this so-called adversity, I think it's much more than that, into an opportunity of situation that we can really work on it. You always mention about being winners. How do we actually win in these times which are so negative? I don't understand that at all, because the only thing that I can think of at these points of time is how can I lose? So you have always talked about the mantras. And I remember more than 15 years ago about hearing your mantras for success. That was 15 years ago. Am I right? Or am I taking it wrong? But anyway,
no.
Yes. So it was at that point of time when you said how we can be very successful. And also that you mentioned, and I remember one of them, which you mentioned at that point of time, and I got it noted down, which I pulled out. You said that success is not an accident. It is result of your attitude. And an attitude is a matter of choice. So the conclusion that you came to, that success is your choice. Now, under the circumstances today, Mr. Khera, please tell us how and what is our choice to make a successful thing. The other thing which I came to know about what you have said, and I'm borrowing it from Mr. Shiv Khera. So I'm going to only repeat what you have said. If you can think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you cannot. Either way, we are right. Today, we want to know, Mr. Khera, what is right? Because we don't know what we can do, and we really don't know what we can't do, or many things that we can't do, and a few things which we can do seems to be locked down. So we look forward to your directions. A great speaker, you have a great motivational thought process that you have. The young people of India certainly knows that direction, but old people need it too. So all of us look forward to hear from you as to what direction that we can and how we all can win. So thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Khera. It's a pleasure and welcome to do so. I'm over to you.
Okay, I'm grateful to you, sir. And Khera Nandani, though I would have loved to seen you on the screen, but as it is, we'll just go ahead. But I'm grateful for your kind words, and I didn't know I could do all those things that you said I could. So indeed, I'm grateful to you, and I'm honored, and apologize for the little glitch on the technology. It's not technology, it's my ignorance that messed up a little bit. Apologize for that. All right, so let's get started right here. And I would request everybody to kindly, at least for this little time, switch off your mobiles, because otherwise we're not going to get anything out of the whole program. We might as well log out of it. So I would request kindly switch off the mobile at least.
To put it on mute. To put it on mute.
No, put it, switch off. This is better than mute. Otherwise, the mind keeps going there. Uh, let's stay with this for the little while that we are together. And I'm so glad that you are going to be with us through the entire program. So I'm indeed grateful to you also. All right, let's get started. Now, why did we put this title as Turn Setback into Comeback? You see, I had three major setbacks in my life, and the major one started when I was pretty young. I must confess that nobody has all the answers today. Certainly, I don't have all the answers. But my coming back is my academics are, I'm a BCom third division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the government nationalized them. The government took over, and we literally came on the street. Street means street. My father had died when I was just about in college. We were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone, and I was married just 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I sold some of the last piece of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I went through those days, and then I tried my hands on three businesses with no money, and I failed in all three. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto. We were sleeping on the floor, and I started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door for a year and a half to 2 years. And then daytime I was washing cars, evening time I was selling vacuum cleaners. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance, and that I think was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Now, literally within a matter of 90 days, my manager was about to fire me. And now there were some turning points that came in, which changed my life completely. And thereafter, I moved on to the US, got into three businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, whatever the learning has been that helped me come back in my life three times is really what I'm going to share, is the same comeback here. That's why the title is Turn Setbacks into Comebacks. Now, this crisis has literally gone from one city to another, covered the whole world. And hospitals are overcrowded, shortage of supplies, orders are getting canceled, factories are closing, unemployment going up, death rate going up. This has literally shaken up the whole world. Now, the entire world is feeling uncertain because nothing is predictable. Nobody has a finish line. Nobody can predict what is the finish line here. With the result, there is a lot of insecurity. When people feel insecure, the stress level goes up, and which is what people are facing today: stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and even anger. Now, all I can say is stress is both natural and normal. Anybody who says they don't have stress, they belong to the lunatic asylum. In fact, it is the stress that makes us perform. Athlete at the Olympics, if he was not under stress, would he perform? Answer is never. I just want to quickly share an example. You see, we all have seen real life or in the movies, the race course, the thoroughbreds. The word is the thoroughbreds. When they are being taken into the cabin, they are jumping up and down like they're edgy. They're jumping all the way. Why? They're under heavy stress. And they get into the cabin, and the moment the bell rings, bang, they shoot. They perform because they were under stress. Now, you take a jackass to the race course. This jackass walks so coolly, so relaxed, so comfortable. He's not jumping up and down like a thoroughbred. He's not. But then he does not perform like a thoroughbred either. And he goes relaxed, but that's a jackass, will remain a jackass, will never perform like a thoroughbred. Now, I just want to leave with one impression here with everybody that, look, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, that's one. One is, all of us can handle stress. Everybody can handle stress. No issue. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. When stress becomes chronic, that is the time we start breaking down. Now, let me share. The important thing is, let us not overrate this crisis, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat, let us not overrate this crisis, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, our life, two, livelihood, and three, lifestyle. You might have heard that elsewhere. But let me quickly share. Life part. Who will be in quarantine next? Nobody knows. None of us knows who will be in quarantine. And two, what we do, where we go, who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Never happened before. What we do, where we go, who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Now, that is as far as life is concerned. Now, let us talk of the livelihood. Everybody's incomes have stopped. You see, I just read the government of manpower, Ministry of Manpower in Singapore. They have said the wages are being cut to the extent of 75%. And at the same time, they're asking people to go on an unpaid leave or do leave encashment or do half weeks, cut your week short, whatever that happens to be. Now, everybody's incomes have been impacted. Individuals, businesses have not got, even governments are not collecting any taxes either. They're going broke too. So that is one part. Now, who are the people who are worst hit? There are three kinds of people. One is the super rich, two, the mediocre, and three, the poor. The worst hit are poor. They are the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. They are the worst hit. Now, the second part I'm going to address is super rich. Super rich do not have a livelihood problem. I just read Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, Dr. Hiranandani, I don't think they have a livelihood problem. $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, I would be totally surprised if the people like the Tatas, the Birlas, Adanis, Ambanis also, they have a liquidity, cash flow, livelihood problem. I'd be surprised. So they are the super rich guys. Now comes the mediocre people like possibly me and maybe some other viewers. People who are in mediocre level, they are thinking, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Now, with that, the major thing that has come up is, we had another company which I sold in US, was pension and tax consulting firm. I just want to check, can you hear me all right, sir? Can you hear me, Dr. Hiranandani?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, you can hear very clearly.
Okay, good. And you can stay with me. Now, important thing is the pension tax consulting firm that I sold, this is the advice we used to give for our clients that, look, buddy, you must have 1 year of your income in liquid cash, 1 year of your income where you can access that money within 24 hours. And that is called emergency fund. Why it is important? Because emergencies and accidents never warn you in advance. They come. Now, if people don't have it, it's a little too late, but going forward, they should plan it that way. Now, and this is where people have started distinguishing between active income and passive income. Active income is, I go to work, I get money. Go to work, I get money. That is active income. I don't go to work, I don't get money. That's it, I stop. This is called active income. Now people are realizing that, look, even if I don't go to work, I must get money. And that is where people are now looking at generating passive income, which they were sleeping. They were not thinking about it. Now, let us come to the scenario which can possibly happen going forward. I was with a banker the other day, and I asked him, what percentage of his staff is working right now? He said 30%. I said, are you working at 30% efficiency? He said, no, sir. We're working at 60% efficiency, and we are shooting for 70, 80, and hitting 90% efficiency with 30% staff. So my next question was, if you are working at 30% staff efficiency, so staff level, and you are hitting 80%, 90% efficiency on your banking, then does that mean that the 60% that were here before, they were redundant, or they will be redundant after the crisis is over? He says, we haven't thought about it. Now, the important thing that came is that there are four kinds of people in any organization, and governments all over the world, there only one thing is priority is that, look, we can handle unemployment, but we cannot afford to have a business close. Because if a business closes, then the job is gone forever. I repeat, unemployment can be handled back and forth, but if a business closes, the job is gone permanently. And he said, we responsible governments are ensuring that that doesn't happen. Now, in any organization, there are four kinds of people. One is your superstars. They are honest, good, clean, asset, proactive. They take pride in performance. They do a great job, and they have integrity. They tell the truth. And if they say a job is done, it is done. You go verify, it is done. They tell the truth. They're honest people, and their asset to organization, that is called a superstar. And there are very few and far between all over the world. Very few. The second category of people are the doers. You tell them to do it, you tell them to do it, you tell them to do it, you don't tell them they don't do it. Now, and after they're done, you need to check if they've done it right. And to hide their incompetency or lack of integrity, they might lie once in a while. Now, the third is category of people which many organizations have is the talker. They talk more, do less. And they're not motivated people at all. And they only do what they can get by with. They only do what they can get by with. And they do only enough that you have no reason to fire them. And that's about it. And they are talkers and not doers. And they don't hesitate in lying at all because they want to hide behind this. And the fourth category of people in any organization is the troublemaker. Now, the big thing is, people are going to reevaluate, do you want to keep the talkers and the troublemakers anyway? Now, I run 3 businesses myself. I've learned one thing in my life. It is better not to have a person than to have a wrong person in a company. And I bet you can verify that too. Now, and the second thing is that there are people who are working from home. I heard Murthy the other day. There are people working out of home. Now, how well is it working? That's a big question. So I asked this banker, I said, your people are working from home. He said, yes. I said, what is the efficiency level? He said, sir, the 80-20 rule applies. Maybe the 90 and 10 rule applies here. He said, less than 20% people are responsible. They can work without supervision. The balance 80-90%, they can't work without supervision. And even if you give them targets, you still have to supervise. And sadly, many immature people are thinking that working from home is a paid vacation. It is not a paid vacation. And yet, the expectations are so high that I got to get paid. Well, how do you get paid? But there are issues that have to be addressed as we go along, unless we can quantify the output and then relate this compensation to the output. If you can quantify it, well, then do it. I don't care. But there are multiple questions that are coming up. And one more thing that has come up is, Dr. Hiranandani, is people are realizing that bottom line is more important than top line. People were looking, what is your turnover? Who cares on the turnover? Bottom line is more important than top line. Okay, and the important thing part comes in here now is the lifestyle part. Now, till now, we were all going on the fast lane. We were running. Where we were going, we didn't know, but we were going. Nobody had the time. Look at this. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we've never had that many in history, and yet we don't have what? Time. We don't have time. What a joke. You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not preaching here. I'm not giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. I messed up my priorities. So now, and when we mess up whenever we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what is urgent in life and what is important in life. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the funny thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, exercising every day is important. It's not urgent. Health is important, but not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what? I'll end up in the hospital. See, interesting, whenever we ignore what is important, it converts into urgent. Now, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You will start talking to your neighbors. Now, interestingly, till now, we were all in the fast lane. Everybody was running. Which direction we were going, we didn't know. But the lockdown has literally forced us to check direction. Now people are realizing that direction is much more important than speed. And in our priorities, you ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people get to be the most neglected people also, which is sad, but that is true. Now people have realized that direction is much more important than speed. And now on the lifestyle part, there is an economics component that has come in, and that is that people have realized that money, why did they say cash is king? Cash is king. You see, people have realized now that money in the bank is more precious than having 50 shirts in your closet. Money in the bank is more important than buying a car for $100,000 and $200,000. This is where people have started realizing their priority on discretionary and non-discretionary spending right now. Okay, so much for lifestyle. Now let us come to in history where there is a comparison of this kind of crisis only twice in last 100 years. One was the Spanish flu, which you must have read 20 times. I'm not going to delve into it, but 50 million people died. 50 million people. And by the way, the Spanish flu came in two phases. Most people died in the second phase, not in the first phase. Because when the first phase came and it went away, people said, crisis is over. And they dropped the guard and they became careless. And I'm sharing this only, the Spanish flu came back 6 months later and killed massive numbers. I just want to say one thing, that just because the lockdown is over does not mean the danger is over. That's all. So we cannot afford to drop our guards as of now. All right. And the second part of this crisis has been the Great Depression of 1929. Banks failed, stock market crashed, people lost their savings, and the dollar lost its value by 85%. $100 became $15. And 15 million people became unemployed. Now, 15 million 100 years ago is equal to 50 million today, because the population was 120 million then. Today it's 330 million in the US. And I just checked up the figures last week. Almost 45 million people are on an unemployment list in the US right now. Only US, one place. Now, Dr. Hiranandani, important thing is, what is the silver lining? What is silver lining? Where is the positivity here? Here is the big positive thing. Studies have shown whenever unemployment has gone up, self-employment has always gone up. I repeat, whenever unemployment has gone up, self-employment has always gone up. Now, during that depression, people were hurting, but there were some people who started their business during the Great Depression, and today their household words in the US, in fact, the household words in the world. I'm going to share only 3 examples with you. Now, these people had no money, no risk-taking ability, they were not educated, they were not innovative, they were not techies, nothing. They had nothing. But they only had one thing. They were positive people, and they were solution-focused people. You know something? There are some people in this world who are problem-focused. What does that mean? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand there are problems in this world. But we need to look for solution-focused people. Think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? I repeat this sentence. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Now, here is 3 examples of the people who started their business then with nothing. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. He started in his neighborhood abandoned place a outlet for non-perishable durable goods. Now these 2 words are important. Non-perishable because if they perish, it's total loss. They had no risk-taking ability. Durable means if they didn't sell, at least the family could use. And this guy started an outlet. Today, he's doing turnover of $30 billion. He has 1,000 outlets. His net worth is over $6 billion. And the man's name is George Jenkins. And the store's name is Publix Supermarket. That is, check it out in your Google, Publix Supermarket. The second example is there were 2 brothers, Gallo brothers in California. They were struggling. They picked up some grapes, started crushing, making wine, but nobody would buy it. Nobody had the money. They started selling the wine 50% below market. This is how they started. Today, the Gallo winery is considered to be the largest winery in US, accounting for 25% of the share of the wine business in the US, and they're worth $10 billion. And the third example was a man by the name of Simplot in Idaho. He had a little patch of land. He started cultivating potatoes. Now, what he couldn't sell, the family ate. Now, what they could not eat started rotting. So he could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes. He started freezing them. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US, with the largest customer is McDonald's. He's called the Potato King, and the man is worth close to $10 billion. Now, I don't want to leave my listener or the viewers with the impression that any one of us, you start our business and each one of us will become a billionaire and do billion. That is not the message at all. The message is very clear that we need to become a solution-focused person. Think about it, I repeat. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Okay, so much for that. Now, let us move on to the next part. This crisis impacting us 3 ways. 1, physically, which is medically. I'm not qualified as a doctor, so I'm going to skip it. 2, economically. Economically, I just want to say only one thing, that till now, the word was globalization, globalization, globalization. People are saying localization, localization, localization. It is crucial. Why is this? And people are talking of self-sufficiency. And why is that? Because production, as of now, is 20,000 miles away from consumption. And all of a sudden, people have realized that a country which is producing can blackmail us. I don't know if you are aware, Dr. Hiranandani, on this, 97% of pharma products are in US is coming from China. US depends on China for 97% of the pharma products. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know it. It came as a surprise to me. India, 81% of antibiotics in India are getting from China. 70% electronics is coming from China. Now all of a sudden, people have realized that a country can blackmail us and we'll be in trouble. We'll be out of business totally tomorrow. That is why localization is important. But the big question is, why did production go 20,000 miles away? Labor costs. But today with artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation, you can have 10 times production capacity with 1/10 labor. So the labor costs are insignificant now. So production is coming close to consumption, and rightly so. Now, coming to the psychological part. Psychological is the emotional part. You see, I find one thing, that people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out stronger from this crisis. People who are emotionally strong, they are coming out stronger out of this crisis. It is like a moon to them. But people who are emotionally weak, they're falling apart. WHO came up with a report. Domestic violence has gone up by 50%. They're breaking apart. Now, let me share with you some steps. The learning life took place. It took place for me. How do we overcome the crisis? What are the solutions, in my opinion? At least I'm talking of psychological, not economic solutions here. But let us talk both here, because psychology impacts our economics. And I'm going to go a little slower. If you want to take them down, please do so. Step one. Step one is the Serenity Prayer. Now, 45 years ago, I attended a program in the US by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. You see, there were 1,000 people. I was one of them. And as Dr. Peale came up and he said, it appears that you people are so calm, cool, collected, relaxed, it appears nobody has a problem here. Then he asked, does anybody have a problem here? Of course, everybody raised their hand. We all have problems. Who doesn't have it? Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of their problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then he said, on my way here to this congregation, I came across a place where I saw some people stretched out, totally relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, totally stretched out, relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. And then he asked how many people would like to get rid of the problem. Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. And Dr. Peale said that day, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'll be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is the time to watch out. Pray to God, have you stopped trusting me anymore? Send me some problems. Folks, that day, he gave a prayer called the Serenity Prayer, which wasn't his. It was given by somebody else 2,000 years ago. And that prayer, in my opinion, is the crux of life. And in the last 45 years, I have not left my room, my home, without my prayer. And I've faced many difficult situations. This one prayer has helped me overcome a lot of crises. And let me share that with you. I will do it twice if you want to note this down. And it goes like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze and dissect this prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, question is, can we change everything in this world? Answer is no. Is everything within our control in this life? Answer is no. There are many things beyond, such as, I did not choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. And sometimes people are born deformed. Sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? Now, you see, how did this corona crisis come? I don't know, but it's here. It says, if I cannot change, then let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we become paralyzed, and we bring stress into our lives, and we become unproductive. The things we cannot change is beyond me. Why fight? Accept it graciously. And if I can change, then give me the guts and wisdom and courage to do it. And 3, wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, to me, this is the crux of life. Now, when I wrote my book, You Can Achieve More, which was launched last year in London, I took this thought 2 steps forward, and I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. Now, how is life full of choices? If I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? If I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? If I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? If I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? If I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? Look at this. Life is full of choices. Now, we are all free to the point of choice, but after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. How is life full of compromises? In life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we crack or do we make lemonade? That's a choice we have to make. Now, sometimes people ask me, Mr. Khera, those who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And those who are failures, don't they do positive things in life? My answer is, people who are successful in life, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anybody a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. That's all success is all about. Series of positive choices in life is called success, and series of negative choices in life is called failure. In my opinion, really, it's not complicated. This is the gist of life. Okay, now step 2. Step 2, to overcome the crisis. Folks, limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, and that's it. Why? Because news is so negative. Why? It is so depressing. Now, let me share. There are some people who wake up in the morning, 7, 8, whatever they do, and the first thing they do is what? They turn the TV on. And what are they looking for? Score. As if there's a cricket match going on between England and Australia. What is the score they're looking for? How many infected? How many died? How many infected? How many died? How many infected? How many died? They watch that for 1.5 hours. And then they switch the channel, another channel, to watch another score, as if the score is going to change. Then they watch another 2 hours there. Then they switch another third channel. And from morning till night, 13 hours, all they're watching is how many infected, how many died, how many infected, how many died. And at the end of the day, the guy says, I am feeling depressed. Of course you will. How will you not? All you've been watching is negativity all day long. And when you are depressed, the chance of catching the viral are much greater. Your immunity goes down. Folks, limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, and that's it. Otherwise, we will all get pulled down. Step 3. Step 3, convert downtime to uptime. Convert wasted time to productive time. How do you do it? Dr. Hiranandani, if you're there, hear this. This was given by Dr. Mandela, Nelson Mandela. Somebody asked him, you stayed in the jail 27 years. How did you survive 27 years in jail? And Nelson Mandela said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. How do you like that? Amazing. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. From there, I have taken out a quotation of my own, which says, I will not let the crisis define me. I will use the crisis to refine me. Now, folks, if from this crisis, you and I do not come out better, upskilled, 2, more knowledgeable, 3, fitter and healthier, it is not because we lack time, but because we lack self-discipline and commitment. Now, let me share how do we turn the wasted time to productive time. Before this crisis came, in the US, there was a survey done which said an average American watches TV 3 to 4 hours a day. Average American before the crisis. Today, people are watching 8, 10 hours of TV per day. So, a man bought a new TV. His friend came visiting and saw the new TV and asked, how much did the TV cost? So he said, $1,000. He said, are you sure? He said, yes. He said, I don't think so. He said, well, tell me, what is your annual income? He said, my annual income is $100,000 a year. He said, have you ever calculated your hourly rate? He said, no. But if I work 2,000 hours a year, my hourly rate comes to $50 an hour. And he said, how many hours do you watch TV? He said, 3 hours. He said, multiply 3 hours with $50, that comes to $150 per day. Multiply 365 a year. This TV is costing you $55,000 per year. That is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. How do you like that? He said, this TV, it didn't cost you $1,000. This TV is costing you $55,000 per year. That is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. Now, what does that mean? Don't get me wrong. We all like to watch TV. It is relaxing. We watch a nice movie, a nice play. It helps us. But watching 3 to 4 hours per day, what are you doing? You are paying those people who are acting there, and it is for your money. You are losing money watching 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. And that is average probably all over the globe now. And right now, people are watching 3 to 4 hours or 8 hours TV per day right now. Now, how do you convert the wasted time to productive time? In my book, You Can Achieve More, I have given a survey which was conducted in US, which said 85% of millionaires and billionaires all over the world are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. How do you like that? 85% of millionaires and billionaires are first generation. And they were asked, how did you achieve so much financial success in such a short time? And the answer was, we read books. And they were asked, what kind of books and how many books do you read? And the answer was, we read 50 books a year. 50 books on an average comes to 1 book a week. How do you like that? These multimillionaires and billionaires make time to read 1 book a week. Warren Buffett is an avid reader. Bill Gates is an avid reader. Look at this. These multimillionaires, they attribute their success to reading books. And they were asked, what kind of books? And the answer was, we read only self-help books. Only self-help books. We don't read fiction. Why? Fiction is fiction, will remain fiction. But one good idea from a self-help book is worth $1 million. Look at this. These people who have got so much success in a short time, they attribute reading self-help books their success, which means what? there is a direct connection between learning and earning, and learning and earning and learning. You learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more. And what is the reason behind it? You see, a good book gives you a wisdom of ages in a capsule form. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They already show a path of success, and it prevents you from pitfalls, making costly mistakes. But, and I've also learned one more thing, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books. Why? Many times people come to me and say, Mr. Khera, I got a great book, I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. But don't lend it to me. Why? Because I will not give it back to you. Hello? Who's this? Bantu. So, are you with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, we are there.
Okay. So I said, don't lend it to me. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. Don't lend it to me. Why? Because I will not give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I sit with a pencil, paper, and a marker with me, and I make notation on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing, that reading a good book once is not good enough. Because when you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you do find something new in yourself. When you read the good book the third time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. And the fourth time and the fifth time, there are books I've read 5 times and 10 times. But a person who reads a book only once and think they've done it, they wasted time. They only use that book as a fiction, nothing else. But you know, there are some people who say, I don't have time to read a book. One, they're unemployed, or they don't do nothing, or they don't do a whole lot. Here are people who are multi-millionaires and billionaires, they make time to read a book. They understand the importance. And second thing, you hear people saying, well, I don't have the money. When I have the money, I'll buy the book. You know something? These are all lame excuses. Go check out, go into the library. Every book is available for free. These people will never do anything. Now, I share this with you for a very important reason. Just about 60 days ago, before the crisis came over, folks, I was learning to do SMS from my grandchildren. I'm not kidding. I was learning to do SMS from my grandchildren. I had never in my life done an email. Never. I didn't know how to turn the computer on. But you know something? This crisis has taught me to run this computer. And in the last 60 days, I have done close to 50 webinars. I've done 50 webinars. And I've been paid many of them. And I am booked for up to another month and a half. I have upskilled myself too. I was an avid reader of books at one time, but after the crisis came in, I also made mistakes, such as I was watching the TV for 8 hours. So I'm not preaching here, I messed up myself. But then I went to my library, checked up my books. And in my library, in my office, I have close to 250,000 books, which is more than many library has. And I saw some books, I'd read half. I started bringing them up. I'm reading my books. One night till 6 o'clock in the morning, I kept reading a book. But then I couldn't wake up till 2 o'clock. Who cares? But I didn't waste my time watching TV. And third, in the last 2 months, I lost 6 kilos of weight. I do exercise every day. I'm fitter. All I can say to you is, folks, if in the crisis you have not upskilled yourself to become more knowledgeable, 3, if you have not become healthier and fitter, it is not because you lack time, but because we lack self-discipline and commitment. We need to understand. Step 4. Step 4. Many times I get calls from people, they think I have the answers, which I really don't. But people say to me, Mr. Khera, I'm very bored. I feel depressed. What do I do? Now, what I have to say to them is different, but I'm sharing with my audience right now here. I learned one thing in my life: only boring people in life are bored. I repeat, only boring people in life are bored. This is the difference between loneliness and solitude. See, folks, loneliness says, I'm alone. Loneliness is a feeling of incompleteness. Solitude, you see, loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the pleasure of being alone. I like my company. I enjoy my company. Now, how do we overcome depression, which is really a big thing that people are facing, including that guy who committed suicide in the film industry? Now, a world famous psychiatrist, Dr. Carl Menninger Clinic is still world famous in US, psychiatric clinic. He was asked, Doc, if you knew for sure one of your patients was coming up with an attack of depression, what advice would you give? What treatment? They thought he would write some medication. And here is what Dr. Menninger said. If I knew for sure that one of my patients was coming up with an attack of depression, I will tell them, go home, lock yourself out of the house, go to the other side of town, find somebody who is in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away. Folks, what a message. A world famous psychiatrist is giving treatment for depression, saying, find out somebody in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away automatically. Now, you know what he said? I don't think he said, but somebody said that, depression is the disease of the rich. Poor people are so busy earning a living, they have no time to get depressed. I work with the Rotary, done some fundraising for them, the round tablers and the quality circles, and I do some fundraising, and I've seen these people are so positive. They're busy every day organizing blood donation camp, eye camp, polio eradication, something. They're so busy, they're so positive, there's no depression. What a message from a world famous psychiatrist. Okay, step 5. Step 5. Folks, to overcome the crisis, build strong, positive relationships. I repeat, build strong, positive relationships. Our biggest asset in life is not our bank balance. Our biggest asset in life is our relationship balance. Why do I say that? Folks, people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Isn't that true, sir? People who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Your greatest asset in life is your relationship support. This is your support system. This is your support system. Today, people have thousands of friends on the Facebook, not one real friend. What a shame. And people who have good relationships, Harvard University did a study, said they live happier and longer life, those who have good relationships. And God forbid, if any one of us was in the hospital today, how many people will be around us? Maybe 1, 2, or 3, that's it. And those are the people we take them for granted. This is the time to build a strong relationship. Folks, in our leadership program that we do in 25 countries, we share with people. See, we all have 24 hours a day. Supposing by some miracle, if you had 26 hours per day, you have 2 extra hours, what would you do with the 2 extra hours? 100% people said, if I have 2 extra hours, I will spend that 2 hours with my family. Well, now you got it. Now you have 24 hours, do it. You know something? People who are emotionally strong, they're coming out stronger. Their bonding is much stronger. And people who don't have good relationships, this is time to build. And if you don't, you will break. You don't need a PhD for it. Do we need an MBA to understand this? Which is a sad part. And sadly, many PhD and MBA, they still don't understand that. Now, important thing is, Coming back to relationships, I got a call the other day from a gentleman who I had met about 10 years ago. And he says, Mr. Khera, we met 10 years ago and we felt good about each other. We wanted to continue, but somehow we disconnected. I apologize. I didn't keep up with you. I'm just calling to reconnect. I said, man, what a guy. What a guy. After he hung up, I said, he beat me to a phone call. And that guy taught me a lesson. After he hung up, I immediately looked at my telephone book. And I looked at people who I had a lot of great respect for, but I had not spoken to them in 3, 4, 5 years. Immediately, I started calling them and I said, buddy, we had connected and we felt good about each other. We wanted to keep up. I apologize. I did not keep up. My fault. I'm calling to reconnect. Man, what a message. What a message. We have no business with each other, but this is where you connect. Now, sadly, there are some people who believe in network. They join Chamber of Commerces, they join Rotaries, they join BNIs, they join many other organizations to network. You know, to them, what network means? Connect with people who could be useful tomorrow. Their only one feeling is, only one motivation is, keep him connected. सब बना के रखो, काम का आदमी है, क्या पता कल जरूरत पड़ जाए, पैसे वाला है, गुंडा है, पॉलिटिशियन है, पुलिस वाला है, वकील है, डॉक्टर है, क्या पता कभी जरूरत पड़ जाए, बना के रखो. Keep contact with him. He could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship goes. That is not relationship. They are called parasites. They are rascals. They are only takers in life. Only takers. They are users. They are parasites. You can never build relationship with such rascals. In life, relationships are built in giving. What can you give? A value addition to another person. What value addition can you provide to another person? That is what builds a relationship in life. Not looking what you can take. You see, there are three kinds of relationships. When we do our leadership program, we talk about it. One is called friendship of convenience. I have a neighbor, our kids are same age, we enjoy eating dinner together, laugh, convenience goes, friendship goes. Second kind of friendship is friendship of usefulness. Someday you could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship goes. The third kind of friendship is built on mutual respect, not tolerance. You keep hearing you should be tolerant. In my vocabulary, tolerance is a bad word. What keeps a relationship going is mutual respect. Now, look at this. I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. See, the day respect for each other goes, we can't live together. You know what tolerance means? If we live here together because we can tolerate each other, it only means postponing the blast. It's a matter of time before you part. Same thing with employer-employees. If employers and employees work together because they can tolerate each other, it's a matter of time before they part. Long-term relationships can be only built on mutual respect. See, we have an office in Singapore. I came from a dinner and I met a gentleman who asked me, you went for dinner? I said, yes. Met some people? I said, yes. And his first thing was, I hope you met some people who could be useful. I felt like giving a piece of my mind. This guy can only think you met people who could be useful. He does not understand. He's only a parasite looking to what he can get. He does not understand that meeting good people is good enough in life. They don't understand that. They're only takers. Now, you see, oh, I was coming to something else. But bottom line really comes down to his relationship. I was doing a program for a group of business people, and they said, how can we jumpstart our business after the crisis is over? I said, look, this is what we share, and We get paid a lot of fees for our consulting assignment, but let me share with you something right complimentary here on the system here. I said, go back, look at your book of business, people you are doing business in the last 6 years. Check out the people you have done business in the last 6 years. And with those people, make a list of all those people who did business with you. But they did not do any business with you in the last 2 years. Make a list. Call each one of them. Right now, they will listen to you, they'll talk to you because they have the time. Tomorrow, they won't have the time. But just pick up the phone and call them. Mr. So-and-so, I see we did business 5 years ago and haven't done anything in the last couple of years. I'm not calling to do business. You need to say, I'm not calling to do business. I'm just calling to just find out, sir, where did we go wrong? Where did we disconnect? Why did we disconnect? And if there's something wrong I did, I want to apologize, but I just want to know to reconnect with you. I'll tell you what, they'll listen to you. And I'll tell you what, the moment the crisis is over, many of them will come back and you will build a rapport, a relationship with them without asking for any business. But we need to understand that networking does not mean getting anything. Networking means giving, add a value addition to somebody else in life. Keep in mind, if I have a friend who has been a friend with me for 20 years, and tonight if he has a problem, who will he come for help to? Obviously, friend of 20 years. He can't make new friends tonight. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I help him, am I giving an obligation? I said no. And if I don't help him, am I behaving like a friend? Answer is no. Keep in mind, helping each other is a duty of a friend, but it is never the purpose of friendship. It is always incidental to friendship. Now, we have just signed up, James Cook University has just signed up with us from Australia to set up a leadership excellence for them in Australia and Singapore. And we've come up with a special program for schools and colleges because we do corporate training for the last 35 years with Lufthansa and others. And when we do corporate training, Dr. Hiranandani, what we tell our people today, that what I'm doing in your company is repair work. I'm repairing. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. And that is where our schools and colleges have not done their job properly. And that is why we just set up a program with James Cook University to do a program now, repair, don't repair. Okay. So much. Number 6, let's move on to number 6 now. Become a proactive person, not a reactive person. In a leadership program, which is 3-4 day program, sometimes we ask people by surprise, are you a good person? Sometimes once in a while they say, oh yeah, I'm good. And you ask a follow-up question, what makes you good? They're thrown away. And they say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, so I'm good. I don't cheat, so I'm good. I don't steal, so I'm good. And my answer is, sir, I disagree with your answer. That's not the answer I'm looking for. Just because you don't do bad does not make you good. Go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Similarly, absence of bad does not make a person good. If I don't cheat, it only means I'm not a cheat. If I don't tell lies, it means I'm only not a liar. But that doesn't make me good. If I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that does not make me good. Remember, a person only becomes good when they proactively do good. Now, why am I sharing this? Probably most of the people listening to this program today are all leaders, all of them leaders. And I've learned one thing in my life. A good leader takes a stand for something. Automatically, you take a stand against something. You can't be neutral. I have not seen a good leader being neutral. If he's neutral, he's a politician. Folks, a good leader takes a stand for something and always takes a stand against something. For the rest of my life, or for the past my life, I have always had strong likes and dislikes. I've not been a neutral person, and I won't be either. Now, why am I sharing this with you? You keep hearing compassion is a good word. Answer is yes, it is a good word. But I have no compassion for enemies of humanity. I have no compassion for enemies of humanity. Now, who are the enemies of humanity, in my opinion? I've seen videos from New York, from Europe, in India. I've seen videos where there are people who have been infected. They're throwing stones at the doctors. They're beating up nurses. They're spitting at the police security forces. They know they're infected and they're spitting at them, on purpose wanting them to be infected too. There are people who are lacing and spitting on vegetables, spitting on fruits, spitting on pizzas for home delivery. Haven't you seen that? What do you call it? This is sadistic. I call them enemies of humanity. I have no compassion for them. Now, why do I share this? For one simple reason. I did a program for about 7,000-8,000 people. One person from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? Now, Dr. Hiranandani, I learned one thing in my life. Don't answer a question till you clarify. And two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you define a Gandhian to me? Can you tell me what are the criteria of being a Gandhian? So he says, well, Gandhi believed in three things. Gandhi stood for, one, he believed that with love you can win everybody. That with love you can win everyone. That's one pillar of Gandhi. Two, Gandhi believed in tolerance. And three, Gandhi believed in non-violence. These are three pillars of Gandhi. Then again he asked me, are you a Gandhian? I don't know, at that time, randomly, what came to my mind. I said to him, I said, look, in our culture in India, we do hold sacred the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata. I mean, they are sacred epics to us. I have not read them, but I have heard enough of them. So I asked him, I said, tell me, was Rama Gandhian? Now, let us look at the three pillars of Gandhi. He said, with love you can win everybody in this world. Was Ram able to win everybody with love? Answer is no. Two, you talked of, so Ram failed the first test. Two, you said tolerance. Did Ram say I'm a very tolerant person? You kidnap a wife away, I'll get a second one. You'll kidnap a second wife, I'll get a third one. You'll kidnap a third one, I'll get a fourth one. Did he say that? He said, no, I do not tolerate kidnappers. And three, you said non-violence. I said, what did Ram do? Even for self-defense, he did do violence. He had to do violence. That means Ram was not a Gandhian. Now, not only that, then you go look at our life histories of 10 Sikh gurus. The 10th Sikh guru, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib, when the Mughals were forcibly converting at that time, was Guru Gobind Singh Sahib, was he able to win with love? Answer is no. Did he say, I'm very tolerant of your terrorism? He said no. Three, did he have to pick up the weapon? Answer is yes. So that means that Guru was not a Gandhian either. And I said, I'm very clear. If anybody who does not have the guts to protect the respect and dignity of his family and integrity, they are cowards. That is not called tolerance. They are cowards, in my opinion. And they talk of all the scriptures that we have, the Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana. I said, show me one place in the Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita where it says that when your family people are being kidnapped and murdered and everybody's at your throat, where do they say go and chant bhajans in the temples? And where do they say do bloody meditation at that time? That is the time to fight. It is cowardice not to do it. And I said only one thing. I said, sir, I'm not a Gandhian. I am not a Gandhian. And that's about it. I bring this point up for an important reason. Ram took a stand for good. He took a stand against evil. He was not neutral. He would have been a politician if he was neutral. You can't be neutral. So as a leader, we have to take a stand in life. Okay. Number 7. In fact, I'll skip one because I'm running over time. I'll skip one of them. I'll come to another one. Now, let's take the number 7 here. Is, folks, keep in mind, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. साहब दोबारा से कहता हूं मैं, विश्वास से ताकत मिलती है, अंधविश्वास से इंसान कमजोर बनता है. Now, why am I sharing this with you? One of the biggest damage done to our country, India, has been done by our media. You look at the print media, they look at the electronic media. The moment you open up the TV, what do you see? You see horoscope. There is a guy sitting in saffron or white and a few tilaks here and a few tilaks there. And the Babaji Maharaj Bhagwan is sitting there. And he says, give me your name, kahan se bol rahe ho, janam tithi bolo, samay bolo, Guruji malum nahi, koi baat nahi, main nikal leta hu. Tick, 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 tick. It has all that stuff. And then he says, आप ये दोष चढ़ा हुआ, वो दोष छोड़ा हुआ, पितृ दोष, पत्नी दोष, पुत्री दोष, फलाना दोष, मंगलिक, शनि चढ़ गया, शनि चढ़ गया, शनि चढ़ गया. And he comes up with all this thing. And now what? And then शनि चढ़ गया. तो बोले सब शनि उतारने का उपाय क्या है? बोले सब शनि उतारने का उपाय ये है, काला रुमाल लीजिए, उसमें काली दाल डालिए, काला काजल लगाइए, काले बाल वाला खोजो, खोपड़ी में 6 बारी घुमाओ, काला कुत्ता खोजो, काला बर्तन खोजो. सब यही चल रहा है यहाँ पे. This is what is going on. Let me ask you, if you read life histories of Swami Vivekananda, if you read life history of Swami Dayanand, if you read life histories of Guru Nanak, they never believed in these things and they fought against this. I want to ask one thing. If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, why don't we send Shani to Pakistan and destroy all the terrorists there? Why don't we send Shani to Ladakh and fight the Chinese? I want to ask one thing. Why doesn't Shani go to Australia? Why are we permanently fixed in India? What a joke. सब 7 मिर्ची 1 नींबू बना के हर शनिचरवार को पकड़ा देते हैं. आपको अगर तो परमानेंटली मिर्ची और नींबू पॉकेट में रखो, शनि आएगा नहीं कभी. साहब मैं क्यों बात कह रहा हूं ये आपसे? There is a reason behind it. There are so many Babas around there today, and there are people who touch their feet. The person who should be in jail. You have no self-respect touching their feet. एक बाबा के पास जाते हो, बाबा जी क्या करें, बाबा जी क्या करें, वो कहता प्रीत करो, प्रीत करो, प्रीत करो. एक बाबा प्रीत बेच रहा है, एक हनी बेच रहा है, एक हनी प्रीत मिक्स करके बेच रहा है. एक बाबा, हजारों लोग जाते हैं वहां पे. मेरे को बाबा जी ये तकलीफ है, पूछता कल जलेबी खाई थी. What a joke. Why am I sharing this with you? There is a reason behind it. An article came out about a year ago on astrology and childbirth. Astrology and childbirth in India. Are you aware that because of astrological reasons, the natural childbirth in India has dropped by 80%, and especially South India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madras, and this article is written, and you people can Google it. Are you aware that in South India, 80% of childbirth is done through C-section operation? 80%. You know why? Some astrologers said, this is good omen, get your kid out at this time. This is what is going on. You look at Sikh families, they never tally horoscopes. There is no Manglik in Sikh families. They do not take out any Shubh Muhurat. All Sikh weddings are done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on Friday. And they're so strong, good. Don't understand. Now, only one thing I can say is, look, show me one person in the world who does not have ups and downs, We all have ups and downs in life. Now, when we have downs, a person who accepts responsibility, they analyze the situation. If the same situation came the next time, will I behave the same way? If you will, you haven't learned anything. So every down situation, we need to learn, understand, analyze, accept responsibility, and make sure we learn from it and we don't do it. But people who do not want to accept responsibility, you know what they say when things go wrong? My stars are not favoring me. My stars are not favoring me. They will never accept responsibility. And they will keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again, which is so sad. Remember, you see, faith gives strength. Blind faith takes away strength. Now, in my last program, maybe 3-4 programs earlier, I had almost 103,000 people log in at one time. 103,000 people. Now, one person asked me a question, very pointed. Mr. Khera, there are people who go out to visit temples and they wait 12 hours, 14 hours for darshan. 12 hours they're standing in line. And they asked me, is that faith or is that blind faith? And here is my answer. Folks, I believe in God. I pray every day. I don't leave my house without my prayer. But in the last 40 years, I have not visited any temple. That's it. I don't go to any temples. Now, I learned one thing, that 90% of temple goers today, they go there not out of faith. They go there more out of fear than out of faith. Because some people tell them, you don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. They go there out of fear, not faith. Well, anyway, this is weakening people, the blind faith part. Okay, and last item I'm coming to is this is give back time. This is time to give back. Folks, we are fortunate and privileged to live in a home and with God's grace have a decent meals, but many people are not privileged. And this is time to give back. And I've seen many videos all over the world. There are many good people, extremely good people. Many people have come up and given their time, given money, given food. They have done a lot for society. But Dr. Hiranandani, there is one community which has been honored by the government of Canada, government of US, government of UK, government of Australia, and government of New Zealand for their service to humanity. One community as a community honored all over the world. And that community is the Sikh community. The Sikh community from India. They've been honored for the humanitarian service all over the world by the governments everywhere. You know why? Even before the crisis came, the concept, the Guru Granth Sahib concept of the Sikh philosophy, the concept of langar, they were feeding people, the underprivileged. Why? And they were feeding hundreds of thousands of people, and today millions are being fed by them. And in fact, many places, governments also want to channelize through them for the humanitarian service. You know why? Their philosophy is so clear. One, they have no caste system. And two, you see, they're caring people. They are caring. Two, they're sharing people. Three, they're daring people. I repeat the three words. Their Sikh philosophy, Guru Granth Sahib philosophy is, they're caring people, they care. Two, they're sharing people, they share. Three, they're daring people, they dare. They have the guts and courage to stand up against evil. Look at this young Sikh boy in Ladakh, Gurtej. Killed 12 of those guys before he went. This is what the Guru Sikh philosophy is. Zulm karna paap hai, zulm sehna usse bhi bada paap hai. They stand, they have the guts to do it. I wish, and since you are chairing the ASUCHM, sorry, you see, I wish the government of India had adopted the Sikh philosophy as to run this country instead of our own constitution, which has been amended by 150 times. This country would have been totally a different country. They give. Now, there's a Gurdwara here. We donate whatever we can, a little bit. But the last story I'm going to share with you was a man by the name of Lafayette in France. Once, he was a very wealthy man, a drought came in. And people were starving at that time. And his advisor at that time said to Lafayette, Mr. Lafayette, this is the time to multiply money, 10x, 100x. Lafayette said, you don't understand. You don't understand. There were good times. They were laughing. We were laughing. They were making money. We were making money. These are not good times. These are times bad. His warehouses were full of grain. He said, give it free. This is the time. Open the grains for everybody. Give it free. You know something? These are the kind of people who make the world livable. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I was doing a program for a group of VHNI, very high net worth individuals. One is HNI, second is VHNI. Who do I label as VHNI? People whose net worth is in excess of $250 million, $250 million. So as I finished the program, one person came up and he said, Mr. Khera, tell me, there are billionaires, multi-billionaires. They don't need the money anymore. Their generations can go on and on. Why do they still keep working and still keep making more billions? I mean, he's already got a few billions, but he still works to make more billions. Why does he do it? So I said, look, there are two kinds of people. One billionaire keeps making more and more to keep a score. Why does he keep a score? To hide his inferiority complex. How does he do it? He keeps up with the Joneses and he says, how come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? Well, he has 50 million, I must have 100 million. If he has 100, I must make 200 million. 200, I must make 300 million. He's got 300, I must make 400. If I have less than him, I'm inferior, which means they keep measuring their self-worth by their net worth. I repeat, they keep measuring their self-worth by their net worth. You take the things away, they'll die or shame, they don't understand. People make things, things don't make people. This is one breed. They keep making money and they sit on the treasure like a snake and do nothing good for society. They are rascals. This is one breed. And Warren Buffett actually defined this breed beautifully. He said a donkey is a donkey is a donkey will remain a donkey. You see, if you have $1 billion, doesn't change anything. He's now a donkey with $1 billion. That's all. साहब किसी ने बहुत अच्छी बात कही है कि if you cart golden bricks on a donkey, it doesn't become a golden donkey. If you cart scriptures on a donkey, donkey does not become a spiritual donkey. Donkey is a donkey. So that is one breed of billionaires who keep making more to hide the inferiority, keep a score. But there is a second kind of a billionaire who has billions but keeps making more. Why? Because he says, the more I have, the more I can give. The more I have, the more I can give. The more I have, the more I can give. Look at Warren Buffett. I believe I could stand correct on the numbers. At $40 billion, give $39 billion to charity. Bill Gates got $33 billion, gave $32 billion to charity. Azim Premji, I think, gave $7 billion or $6 billion 6 months ago. Look at the Tata organization. 66% of the Tata organization profits going to charity. Man, what a message. What a message. You know, what does this tell us? Many times when I do my leadership program, and I do talk about money, once in a while, people come up to me and they say, Mr. Khera, money is not important. You do talk of money, but money is not important. I have written in my book, you know, who are the people who say money is not important? They are either stupid or they are billionaires. Now, I didn't say money is the most important thing, but money is important. You know why it is important? Because money in good hands always does good, and money in evil hands always does evil. So I want to conclude now this program. I conclude all my programs, leadership program all over the world with this, that it is the moral obligation of every good human being to be a multi-millionaire and a billionaire. Moral obligation of every good human being is to become a multi-millionaire and a billionaire. Why? Because money in good hands does good. Money in evil hands will always do evil. With those words, I want to hand over the floor back to Dr. Hiranandani. I just want to say two things. One is, folks, Dr. Hiranandani, I'm grateful that you felt, sir, I was worthy enough of coming in front of your audience. And probably what you gave me is probably much more than I could have given you back. What you gave me is your time, sir. And I learned one thing, that time is more precious than money. And why did you give me your time, sir? Because you trusted me that I will not waste your time. And I learned one thing in my life, that trust in many ways a much greater compliment in life than love. Because there are people we love but we can't trust. And sir, with those words, I would like to, with folded hands, thank all of the viewers, listeners, and to you, sir, and you take over the mic, sir, from this point onwards.
Mr. Shiv Khera, I wish I would have been savvy enough to hear your earlier lectures many years ago. I think I would have been a better person and a better life if I had actually heard you many more times earlier. I've been making notes of what you said, sir. And I've never in a single lecture, which is now 1.5 hours, ever been had so much to actually flag off. And I mean, there is nothing I want to ask you because I just want to repeat what you said. The bottom line is more important than the top line. Distinguish between the important and the urgent. Cash is king. Solution-focused person is what one should be. 97% of the pharma products come from China. Problem is a part of life. To accept what I cannot change is very large. And to change what I can change, I have the guts and wisdom to know the difference between the two. Life is full of choices. Life is full of compromises. People who are successful must fail, but successful people don't repeat failures. Converted wasted time into productive time. I will not use the crisis to define me. I will define the time positively. Reading good books, but again and again. Build strong, positive relationships. Give a value addition. You can give something to someone else's life. Mutual respect. Meeting good people is good enough by itself. Become a positive and not a reactive person. Faith gives strength. Blind faith gives weakness. This is give back time. The beautiful Sikh community. The more I have, the more I can give. Aziz Premji, Tata Trust. My moral obligation is to be a multi-billionaire so that I can give more. So much learning in such a short time, Mr. Khera. How can I just thank you and salute you for what you are? And I do respect that you are giving so much more than what I can give you in terms of my time, that I can never be as grateful as I would like to be. So on behalf of ASSOCHAM today, I want to say, please do come again and be with us. Please come again and speak to not only people in business and ASSOCHAM. I run 17 colleges. I have 45,000 students in colleges in Mumbai alone. I would love that you should speak to them also. I have about 15,000 students in schools. I'm sure there is a lot for them to pick up also. The kind of thought process which people have had in the past is not about what we are, but what we can be. It's not good enough to be good, but how to be better. And today, sir, you have taught us not to be better, but to be the best. But I cannot say even that. You have taught us today to be better than the best. I think if we can pick up one out of the 30 points that you have told us, I think I will become the best. So, Mr. Khera, much obliged for your inputs today. It is really a joy to be over here. I had another appointment about 15 minutes ago, but I dropped off because from that appointment, simply because I couldn't leave you at all. I had planned an hour, but this went on, and my learning and so was so much over here that I have postponed that interview with French TV actually. So I've told them that they can take it later. Sir, only one last thing, because we are short of time in this whole thing, is that when we make this change happen, what do you think? How do we communicate this change to the entire country and make this paradigm happen? Because what you have taught us are small steps to make a great human being, and multiple of human beings are what you talked about. Like you gave the example of the Sikh community. Can this be a new India nation which follows the path that you have suggested? There are commonsensical thoughts, but they are great thoughts. So my only question to you today, I'm sorry we can't ask you more today because there are lots of questions because we don't have the time. What is it going to be to actually make this paradigm happen to the Indian people, to make them more disciplined, more far-sighted, not worry only about what you said, the TV of today, but to think and work towards the nation of tomorrow and make this into a beautiful country? That's the only question I wanted to add on to whatever you said.
Well, this is something that I would certainly like to talk to you one-on-one, because anywhere, any organization, any place, it always starts from the top, never bottom up. Never bottom up. So if we want to bring a change, we need a few people. In fact, if you really look at it today, how many people, there's a dearth of leadership, there's a real gift of good leadership, and like-minded people, like you, us, and a few others. By the way, we don't need more than 5, 6 people. That is more than enough to make a change, and we can actually bring a change in the whole country. No more than 5 people, I'll tell you that. So when people say that that the nation does not support good people or people are not supported, I disagree with that. Actually, people are looking for good people and they're willing to support good people. So I've already got a few people who have called me, and because I was at one time even involved in politically, also I was heading a political party. Even now, the party called me a few times to join them. I've not joined them. But we need to come together, like-minded people. I got a call the other day from Justice Lahoti before, and a few others. And there are like-minded people who are thinking, and they said, well, the way we are going, I don't think we want to be positive, but at the same time, it is foolish not to see the writings on the wall. I repeat, it is foolish not to see writings on the wall. And living in denial is also stupidity. So we have to come up with some things where we, like-minded people, can get together, and we don't need more than 5, 6 people. And I think I've already got 4, 5 anyway. And people like you and a few others join up, and you and a few other people. I think we need to have a one-on-one meeting and turn around the whole nation. We can do it. I'll sit down with you and work it out. You know something, today the time is such, not only the good people are fed up, even the cheats and crooks are fed up, because they meet bigger cheats and crooks. You cannot build a nation like this. In fact, since you brought it up, it may take 1 minute, and I will answer this one thing. I heard one of the very senior guy, will not name, you know the person. He came here and gave a lecture, 1-hour lecture on nation building from Niti Aayog. And the guy says, these are the problems we are facing, and these are all the solutions here. And these are the questions that are coming, and these are all the answers to that. After 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I heard him, and I said, sir, tell me, you gave all the problems, and you gave all the solutions. So you gave all the problems, you have all the solutions. You had all the questions, you had all the answers also. But you got everything, you don't need anybody, you got all the problem solutions. But tell me, you've been in the position of power for 6 years, why are still we in the bloody mess? He said, no, we need infrastructure. And you know what I said to him, Dr. Nani? I said, just outside Gurgaon, you made a big highway just about 6, 8 months ago or a year ago, it opened up. Now, if you remember, it became a big news at that time. That highway was filled with all wires, nice signage, and huge poles, and a lot of good things there. They put a lot of signs and poles and wires, everything. And after it opened, within 48 hours, villagers came from both sides, cut up all the wires, cut up all the poles, cut up all the signs, and sold it for kabar. Kabar में सारा बेच दिया जाके. मैंने कहा साहब करो और बना लो infrastructure. I said make more infrastructure. I said, you know something, you don't even, and this is people in the senior in the Niti Aayog. I said, you don't even know ABC of nation building. You haven't made progress in a country. It is not by industrial infrastructure. It is by the quality of the character the country is producing of its people. And we are not. And you keep talking of skill development. I said, till there is self-development, you cannot have any skill development. If you have it, then it will be well wrong. Just the way highway. They took up everything away. I said, make all highway, make more, it will be all gone. I said, you don't have the basics right. And this is the way they are going ahead. And that is sad. And that is why in colleges, James Cook University signed up with us the partnering agreement. Tell them you don't have to repair them later. Create a factory of leaders in your college. Create a factory of leaders who will fight and turn the country around. All right, we'll set together on this and move on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khera. Thank you on behalf of ASSOCHAM. Thank you on behalf of all the speakers here today. Very, very grateful to you. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Grateful. Look forward. Bye. I'll call out.